that drop-off is no joke, Tommy.
I swear, I'm very careful.
Osso? Ah, tem um osso aqui, eu acho que é osso de galinha.
Será?
Eu acho que é. É, porque de certo fizeram oferenda com galinha.
This old forgotten cemetery. Wow.
Something's growling.
We enter wild places believing hiking preparation and experience are enough. But floods ignore planning, cliffs forgive no mistakes, and the forest doesn't care how far you've hiked. Across these journeys, survival isn't about skill, it's about timing. When control disappears while hiking, would you still keep going? In August 2022, Outdoor Boys documented a 3-day sprint through Utah's mighty 5 national parks, where a simple family trip quickly evolved into high-stakes encounters with flash floods, sheer cliffs, and haunting history.
That's the beginning of the Narrows, a slot canyon with a river running down the middle. Ooh, the water's brisk. There was a pretty serious flash flood last night, and the river volume was about 4 times what it is right now. See, Tom, where it's ripply, that's where it's going to be fast and shallow. Where it's calm, it's going to be deep. Check it out, guys. There's a patch of quicksand here. When you're wading through the water, you'll stub your toes on a lot of rocks, so you got to have good closed-toed shoes with a lot of cushion. Suck it in. I'm not sure how deep that is, but it's definitely over Tommy's head. Check out that big pile of rocks up there. You can see how deep it gets when it floods. The water was up to here about 1 a.m. last night.
Nothing humbles a traveler quite like the raw, unchecked power of moving water. In the Narrows, Luke led Tom through turbulent brown water just hours after a massive flash flood. This calculated risk served as a grim lesson on how quickly a scenic hike can transform into a death trap with no escape.
We're at the ghost town of Grafton. It's one of the best preserved ghost towns in the state of Utah. They take a big barrel, they fill it full of water, and then they pull it with a sled so they can do their laundry. Check out these mud bricks. This is the church and the schoolhouse, which was built in 1886. Imagine going to school in there.
Whoa.
It says Joseph Berry, born 1843, killed by Indians 1866. The Navajo started raiding here and everyone just left and went to a nearby town for protection. Now some of the local community members have got together and are trying to preserve Grafton. This is just a community trying to preserve history.
Stepping off the beaten path, they arrived at the ghost town of Grafton. Beyond the majestic arches and spires, the desert hides the silent ghosts of those who didn't survive it. Luke showed Tom an 1866 headstone of a settler killed in regional conflict. The eerie stillness served as a sobering reminder of the violent loss buried beneath Utah's stunning vistas.
One thing cool about Canyonlands is they have some amazing 4x4 trails down into the canyon. Oh my goodness, this trail drops right off the side of the canyon wall. Look at that cliff. Oh, that drop off is no joke, Tommy. Ooh. Hey Tom, is this scary?
Yes, I'm ready to bail out.
I can get closer if you like.
No!
No. Okay, we'll stay back here. Bad news though, we gotta go back up. That is an amazing drive. That was so cool. Can't believe we just drove down that. This trail system goes on for miles and miles. Just disappears off into the horizon.
The tension reached a breaking point at Schaefer Canyon, where Luke drove their 4x4 down a switchback road that clung to the side of a sheer drop with no guardrails. Inside the cabin, Tom's fear was raw and undeniable. It was a grounded moment of terror, highlighting the fact that in Schaefer Canyon, there is zero margin for error. While many praise Luke's hands-on education, others question if experience can truly offset such immense risks. In a land of floods and abysses, One wonders, where does learning end and unnecessary danger begin? Hold on a sec. If you're enjoying this so far, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Let's continue. On August 2nd, 2025, the YouTube channel Jenna Alexis documented a solo one-night trek along the Ribbon Creek Trail in Kananaskis, Alberta. Moving alone toward alpine lakes and waterfalls, Jenna found herself in a landscape that demanded absolute focus. While the trail was well-maintained and inviting, the environment hit a lethal edge that required respect at every turn.
I was with my dog last time. I did not bring my dog this time because I'm heading up past this section that's going up like rock face. And this campsite is not too much farther, but there is quite a bit more elevation. I noticed some clouds and thunder rolling up, which wasn't on the forecast. So I'm trying to get up the steep part and get to the rock face before it might start pouring rain. Okay, this is my view from the side of the cliff, and I'm going up these step thingies across the ledge. Thankfully, it's not too slippery. I thought it was going to be a little bit wet from the drizzle we had, but it's kind of okay. I swear, I'm very careful. It's really just regular scrambling. It just seems riskier because it's so exposed.
Scaling a steep wall using only fixed chains, Jenna found herself hundreds of feet up as thunder began to roll. On a vertical rock face, the margin for error vanishes as the sky darkens. The tension was palpable. On these metal chains, a sudden storm could instantly turn a controlled climb into a desperate struggle for survival.
Probably hear them buzzing. I'm hiding in my tent from all of the mosquitoes outside. Do you hear that? These bugs are insane. Oh my god, I breathed in a bug. That was so gross. I literally felt it enter my lungs almost. Gross. I just inhaled a bug. Ate a bug by accident, but we're well hydrated now.
In the wild, the most unsettling threats are often the smallest. Driven into her tent by relentless mosquitoes, Jenna accidentally inhaled an insect while filming, reacting with visible distress as it entered her lungs. This visceral moment highlights how the wilderness can become physically and mentally overwhelming in ways no one can fully prepare for.
It's so beautiful here this morning. Like last night it was pretty cloudy and a little bit stormy. And the view this morning is just unreal. It's almost 8 now, and I'm heading back the way that I came. Looking out into the lake. Tell you what, going down is a lot freakier than going up. I'm going back down this steep part, and just like leveraging the weight of my backpack correctly as I'm like down stepping backwards is a little freaky.
Descending a cliff is a different kind of terror, where gravity and fatigue conspire against you. Maneuvering down the chain-secured face with a heavy pack, Jenna faced a drop that appeared far steeper than the climb up. With no safety net, the footage captures the raw reality. Even a minor slip here carries life-altering consequences. While viewers admired Jenna's preparation and the stunning vistas she captured, the footage left many questioning their own limits. When nature offers no room for error, we are forced to ask, at what point does the thrill of exploration cross over into unnecessary risk? In July 2023, the channel Ika Acres entered this humid, overgrown wilderness to scout remote campsites. In a landscape defined by limited visibility and heavy black bear activity, the silence of the woods felt less like peace and more like a warning.
Well, yesterday, Bridget and I were coming back in her car from going out to dinner with a couple friends of mine. And after we said our goodbyes and left, Bridget and I were coming back on Sawmill Run Road, which is a big state forest. And we encountered a small U-Haul truck that was speeding, caught up to us out of nowhere and was tailgating Bridget's car. Passed on a double line, blew around us, and just as we were coming to a dead man's curve, and somehow it made it around the bend, and after we went around the bend, the thing was gone. Once we went around the second bend, there was no sight of the truck because then it was just a straight road going all the way up the mountain, and he wasn't even a mile or two ahead of us. He didn't roll it over, it just disappeared.
After entering the forest, the host reflects on an unsettling moment from the day before. While driving the back roads near Broken Straw Forest, a U-Haul that tailgated at high speed, then vanished behind a sharp curve without turnoffs or tracks. Remembering it now, surrounded by dense trees, made the forest feel less empty than it appeared.
Wow. Boy, this is thick, you guys. Really, really thick country here. Hey, bear. It's getting a little more thicker up here. We're taking a break. We found a nice rest area right here. Nice fallen tree to sit on. It's pretty buggy in this forest, but it's just so thick with undergrowth and ferns and just all kinds of greenery. Dense forest. And that's where you usually see the bear because they like thick cover. Hey, bear!
As they moved deeper, visibility collapsed to just a few meters. Resting near fallen logs, the host warned that terrain this thick is ideal cover for black bears, leaving almost no time to react if one is hidden nearby. But the theoretical danger of the shadows soon hardened into a bone-chilling reality.
Okay, guys, we ran across a gentleman that just walked out of the woods. I asked him how long this trail is. He said this trail we're on is 18 miles long. That would explain why on all trails it said 1.8. They had a decimal between the 1 and the 8. If you don't have accurate information, how, if you didn't know when to turn around, you could easily get yourself much deeper in a forest than you want to go and get into trouble real quick. And that was the case we encountered today. The information was incorrect. Instead of 1.8, it's 18 miles. So by the time we get back to the car, we're putting in a 6-mile hike. And that's enough on a 90-degree day with high humidity. So anyway, we're just going to keep on hiking, heading back towards the car. We're both very tired. Looking forward to getting back to the car and calling it a day. Well, update you guys. We're taking a pit stop right here, taking a rest. We got under a mile to go, and then we'll be back to the car. But I'm stoked that there is camping up on the forestry road. So I'm looking forward to camping in this forest, doing a night over in it. What the hell is that? Something's growling. Get the dog picked up. There's something as we're making our way back to the car. Something is growling at us. Did you hear that? Not joking, you guys. It is a deep growl. I've got the can in my hand right now. We both stopped and it was just going. That was creepy. I wonder if that was a freaking Sasquatch. We are going to make it in fast time, walking fast, and get back to the car. And I'm going to keep watching behind us. I have never ever heard that in the woods before. Thank God, you guys. We're at the end of the trail.
Less than 2 kilometers from safety, a deep, aggressive growl broke the silence from the brush beside the trail. Bear spray was drawn, the dog lifted, but nothing appeared. The sound was enough to make one thing clear. It was time to leave. Viewers remain divided on whether the sound was a known predator or something far more mysterious, but the outcome remains the same. When danger speaks directly to you from the shadows, retreating isn't just an option, it's the only way to survive. On April 22, 2025, the channel Hiking Movie documented a solo trek near Warner Springs that began as a routine test of endurance, but ended as a profound encounter with mortality. What started as an ordinary day of hiking slowly transformed into a deeply personal reckoning, with a tragedy that had occurred just feet from where she slept.
I still don't know this morning about that cross and the trash right there. I don't know that that signifies that something terrible happened in this exact spot. There's my tent site. And that early, most everybody else is still in their tents. I'm slow, so they'll catch me.
After a night in the wilderness, the host discovered a staggering secret. The exact spot where she pitched her tent was where a hiker named Michael had passed away just hours before. Shaken by the coincidence, she offered heartbreaking tributes. But on the trail, the reminders of mortality aren't always human.
Trail magic? The water, no trail. Oh, okay. Water's magic here too. It's probably only noon. I think we've got 3 miles or 4 miles to the campsite. We're hiking a little bit faster. We can't do too much. So get an overuse injury. This is a nice change. It's getting warm. I think it's still around like 72, something like that. But we're back out in the desert. Feels a lot hotter than it is. I don't know how the people do it that come in here later in the year when it's like 100 degrees. Can you see him down there? There's Fred. And there's Detour. Just barely see him. That's way too big to be coyote scat. Probably mountain lion. It's got hair and stuff in it. I've seen a lot of it actually. I found a little shade, so I'm relaxing in the shade right now. Before I cross that open field, my feet are killing me today. They are really sore. I've done too many miles, I think. So 14 today. And then we're going to Warner Springs because I think we'll only have about 5 miles to get into Warner Springs.
As she pushed forward, she stumbled upon a chilling sign of a different kind of presence. Fresh, large animal scat lay directly on the path, filled with visible fur, a telltale mark of a mountain lion stalking the same terrain. Beyond the hidden predators, the desert itself becomes a relentless adversary.
Somebody died yesterday at our campsite, a thru hiker named Michael, and he died in his sleep, I guess yesterday morning before we got there. Very sad, but he died doing, what he wanted to do and went in to sleep peacefully, they think. Of course, they haven't done an autopsy or anything. The helicopter came and took him before I got there to the camp last night, that we're camping there last night. Nobody told me last night because I put my tent up in his campsite and they decided not to tell me so that I could sleep. I wondered why there was a cross right across from that tent site and why such a good tent site hadn't been picked. And then there was a bunch of trash a little ways away. Water bottles, peanut butter, jar. Looked like somebody just dumped out their trash. That's just so weird. And everybody was kind of calm and quiet until today. Fred fessed up today. They thought I would sleep better if I didn't know, but I could have picked a different campsite. So rest in peace, Michael. Sorry I took your campsite. It was a good one. Check it out, there is water. I'm not to the campsite yet, but I'm sure this is the stream. Soaking my feet, hoping the cold, very cold water works some miracles here. And everyone decided to go on into town another 4 miles. Don't think my feet have another 4 miles in them. That's a total of 18 for today. But I think if I sit here for a while and soak my feet, maybe it'll numb them enough because the water's so cold that I'll be able to hike.
She spent the afternoon trekking through exposed cattle pastures under a punishing sun, with temperatures climbing past 90 degrees. Every mile became a battle of endurance as the extreme heat and relentless distance left her feet in agonizing pain. When a campsite serves as both a final rest and a temporary shelter within hours, the ground itself feels altered. Viewers are split. Was the hiker's silence a protective gesture or a disturbing omission? On June 5, 2019, the YouTube channel The Wandering Woodsman documented a solitary walk through the forests of southern Lancaster County, Pennsylvania. Known for exploring forgotten natural and historical sites, the host set out to locate a nearly 300-year-old cemetery hidden near the Susquehanna River. With no exact coordinates and only fragments of direction, the journey moved quietly, toward a place time itself seemed to have forgotten.
Still following this trail. Don't know if the cemetery is up here or not. And just as I was beginning to lose hope, guess what I see poking out of the ground up here? Tombstones. Anyway, my mind is wandering. Anyway, but up here, yeah, here we go. This is it. Awesome. Wow. This is what exploring is all about. Finding this out here. This old forgotten cemetery. Wow. I'm gonna sit down and take a little bit of a break first before we look around. I'm gonna sit and take a break among the dead. Pretty sure it does, actually. Anyway, I'll get back to you. I'm gonna sit down, relax a little bit, and then we'll take a good look at some of these and talk about dates and stuff. Sitting among the dead out here, taking a break. But like I said, there are a number of trails leading to this cemetery, besides the one that I came on. Of course, one problem with these old Pennsylvania graveyards is that they're in German, Pennsylvania German, but the name there is Barbara Good. That means born. 1777. She died in 1821. 1777. Look at some of these. Here's a Peter Warfel, something like that. Let's see, 1778 to 1803. So he didn't live terribly long. We won't look at every single tombstone. We'll just get a feel for some of them. Elizabeth Warfel, that name, Warfel or something like that. 1816. So here's a David Eshelman, 1799. I should mention, I don't think I mentioned the name of this cemetery. This is called the Benedict Eshelman Cemetery. Benedict Eshelman. So you can look up online to find more information about it. Johannes Good, 1752 he was born, and he died in 1826. So that's our oldest date so far. That's when he was born, 1752. And you can see some tombstones here that are in a different style than the others. These are harder to make out, the dates and stuff, pretty worn off. I think I see a 1776 down there. Not sure if that's when he died or that's when he was born, because it looks like there's a date up there. Anyway, might be a date down there too. Anyway, some of these are a little hard to read. That's the way it is.
The forest floor holds a staggering secret, marked only by weathered stones rising like shadows from the earth. Among 19th century headstones lie unmarked rocks, nameless pioneers from the 1720s whose identities have been erased by decay. The site's unsettling calm stems from the realization that an entire generation now exists only as silent, anonymous stone.
Yeah, see, other ones just scattered around here. So these back here just don't have any markings on them. They're that old. Wow. So the ones in front are the newer ones. Kind of found this one lone tombstone all by itself off to the side. This was kind of sad though. In memory of Elizabeth, daughter of Susanna Seabrooks, who departed this life June 10th, 1828. She was only 17 years old. It's pretty young. When not as young as some of the others we've seen, but 17, you're just kind of hitting that period in your life where you're starting out. It's lots of memories out here, but they're forgotten. No one remembers her anymore, or even what she looked like or anything.
Every forgotten graveyard has one story that manages to reach out from the silence. The host pauses at Elizabeth's marker, a girl who died in 1828 at just 17. Reflecting on how a once-loved life now exists only as a fading name with no living witness, he chooses to hide the cemetery's location, protecting her final rest from a world that has already forgotten her. Viewers often reflect that the true terror isn't death, but the inevitable act of being forgotten. As time erases names and stories, only silence remains, unless a stranger pauses long enough to remember. When even headstones fade, is a stranger's glance enough to keep a legacy alive, or is being forgotten the final fate we all share? Deep in the shadows of Brazil's abandoned Cemitério da Alagoa, some legends refuse to stay buried. On August 15, 2025, The channel Chamos documented a high-stakes expedition into the territory of the Corpo Seco, accursed being rejected by both heaven and hell. What began as a routine investigation quickly spiraled into a desperate game of cat and mouse with an unseen presence that seemed to resent their intrusion.
Não bota a luz ainda não. Ô, cara, será que eu achei que... Sabe o que eu achei? Que podia ser a polícia que tá vindo pelo outro lado da trilha. Galera, deixa eu explicar o que aconteceu aqui, mano. E a gente acabou ouvindo um barulho de mato quebrando aqui, alguma coisa correndo aqui, cara. Ou não foi um galho desse que quebrou aqui, será?
Não, foi coisa grande, mano. A ideia é a gente tentar vir de dia aqui, né?
Não, mas eu ouvi muito alto, cara. Todo mundo ouviu, cara.
Não, tá louco, Jota. É coisa grande. E fazendo aquele som, cara. Parece que a gente se aproximar, o bagulho some, cara.
É. Na nossa frente.
Tá gravando. Duvido que não pegou na câmera. Você não pegou agora? Tá muito alto, cara.
Ó, tá se distanciando, parece.
Não, tá indo pra lá, ó. Parece que agora, tipo, tava aqui assim, ó, na frente, foi pra lá agora, mano.
Ô, cara, e agora, velho? Ó, nós estamos sendo...
Grande. O facão mesmo, facão cego.
Não tá, cara. O negócio foi lá pra trás, cara.
Pois é, Jota, é aquele negócio. Aquele mesmo som que eu escutou, cara. Mas e faz esse som?
Just as the team prepared to leave, the silence was shattered by violent snapping and heavy rhythmic footsteps charging through the brush. Even as the noise faded, a chilling sensation remained. The feeling of being watched by a presence merely repositioning itself in the dark.
Olha aqui, tem osso aqui, ó.
Osso?
Ah, tem um osso aqui, eu acho que é osso de galinha.
Será?
Eu acho que é.
É, porque de certo fizeram oferenda com galinha.
Tá vendo? Tem um monte de osso. Até aqui tem osso, ó. Até aqui tem osso, ó. Tá vendo aqui? Tem mais osso aqui, ó. Ó, tem osso por tudo aqui, ó. Tá vendo? Esse aqui tudo é osso, ó. Aqui, ó. Tudo o resto de coisa aqui, ó. Deixa eu te perguntar. Será, cara, que... Tá? Vamos entender que é um bicho. Existe a possibilidade das pessoas estarem vindo aqui e entregando oferenda, animais para essa coisa se alimentar?
Ou esse negócio tá matando bicho e trazendo pra cá pra comer. Matando de outro lugar, trazendo pra cá. Aqui é um terreno que em 1800 eles montaram um cemitério aqui. Foi criado um cemitério aqui nesse local. Conhecido aqui. As pessoas trazia caixão, em barco, em canoa, para fazer um enterro aqui. Os pescadores enterravam corpos aqui. É um dos primeiros cemitérios, é o primeiro cemitério da cidade. Cara, o negócio tá longe, tá? Porque ela só parou, barulho, tu deu um ruído aqui agora, mas eu não sei, pode ser que só qualquer ruído aqui, qualquer barulho que ela já se assusta, velho. Que isso? Foi vocês? É mesmo, Jota? Tô aqui no braço? Ó, peraí. Cara, a gente vai ter que fazer o seguinte, rapaziada. A gente vai botar aqui umas 2, 3, no máximo 4 câmeras em pontos diferentes e deixar gravando. E vão ter que ficar lá no carro aguardando.
Ignoring their instincts, the group found a clearing of crushed grass littered with scattered remains. In a cursed forest, every discovery feels like a warning written in bone. As they discuss the cemetery's history, a sudden movement erupted behind them. One member recoiled, claiming something cold brushed his arm. Despite their lights, the camera captured only empty air, proving that whatever haunted them didn't need to be seen to be felt. When fear fuels a legend, the line between myth and reality blurs. Viewers debate, is the Corpo Seco a psychological shadow or a physical predator? If you're already convinced you're being hunted, can you ever trust your senses again? That's all for tonight's video. Which encounter gave you chills? Let us know in the comments below. Got your own experience? We want to hear it. And whatever you do, don't miss what's coming next.